What's going on today, everyone? This is Aztecross. Hey, look, I wanted to go ahead and give a glance here at Gaheris-D. Now, this, of course, is an arms day weapon, and one that I haven't heard a lot about. Decided to go ahead and get it because it came with reinforced barrel this week with final round and surrounded. Now, the surrounded and final round perks aren't exactly the most ideal perk. I mainly only chose those because it came with reinforced barrel and also with sure shot. If I had to pick and choose, of course, I would actually pick rangefinder because the range on this thing is very minimum. They're at 23, so it's not great there as far as range terms go. Now, as far as just how it performs in PvP and Crucible, let's talk about it. So fellas, I really want to go over Gaheris-D here because I see some things here that are definite pros about this weapon. Now, I will say right off the bat, it has good stability, and despite what people say, stability does play a role in it. And there's some people out there, man, that does not like the recoil of certain weapons because of, well, the lack of stability on that weapon, and it's something that's difficult to get used to. So I can understand why some people kind of are wary of certain hand cannons. And so as far as the Gaheris goes, having that stability perk at 56, it's actually pretty nice. Aim assist is 80, also that's kind of your above average perk there compared to other hand cannons. You know, you've got things like First Curse and you know, your raid hand cannon and people like that because of the aim assist. Now, I'm not one to believe that aim assist is a huge perk, a huge thing to look for. I would definitely not say to use this weapon over another hand cannon just purely based off of aim assist values. I'm just saying that just in general, it does play a slight role in your shots there. Now the bad. I do not like the range about this weapon. You know, a lot of people like to pick weapons such as your Amago Loops, your IS Lunas, because they love the default range there with it. It already comes with a very loaded out range perk, range default stat on it. So of course, picking up something that even extends that, like rangefinder and stuff like that, is really key. You know, back in year one, your hand cannons were almost like mini scout rifles, as someone put it the other day. You know, that's kind of how I felt about hand cannons then, but here now it's not really the case. It's really hard to be accurate once you get in those mid-range levels, so you're always wanting to achieve maximum range with your hand cannons. Now, the range on this one being 23 is, well, not a good thing to have, man. That is very nasty. It's not a good perk to have, or a good default range stat. So I highly suggest having rangefinder and even reinforced barrel on this if you're going to make this a common weapon for you to use. So with all this being said, with me just throwing some of the perks out there to you, you know it is in that same archetype as Vanity, as Lord High Fixer, and your Amago Loop and stuff. Why would you use your Gaheris-D at all in Crucible? Wow, that was my computer. Why would you use Gaheris-D? Huge reason why I believe you would use this weapon is if you're very new to hand cannons. I feel like as far as ease of use and user friendly, Gaheris-D is definitely one of those. Now, you gotta know the limitations of the weapon. It definitely is limited in the mid-range level. You will see that as you start to shoot, the inaccuracy of the weapon is very apparent despite what its aim assist values are and what you may think it to be. Now, as far as once you get up in a short range area, kind of like right outside of where Last Word starts to really become deadly, you know, you can see how apparent how good it is, man. I cannot tell you. I mean, I play with hand cannons a bunch, but this was a very easy hand cannon to tame. You know, when you get to where you're using Thorn a bunch and stuff like that, and having to get to where you can tame Thorn, going from Thorn to Gaheris is so easy, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this weapon review or weapon look at Gaheris, because I see a lot of players that say, hey man, I kind of want to step into the ring with hand cannons. I want to take a look at hand cannons and see how I would fare with a hand cannon. And you know, before you run out there and jump on something that you know might throw you off for a loop, or you might get a bad taste in your mouth for certain hand cannons, I want you to check out this one because I feel like this is a very easy, user-friendly hand cannon to mess around with, and it's not only user-friendly and easy to get used to, but it's also a good hand cannon, and that's the whole point of this review. Is I believe it to be a good hand cannon. I use it in threes a bunch today. It worked out pretty well for me. I always like to combine these mid-impact hand cannons with a shotty, and even with the lack of range with my reinforced barrel, it actually worked out really well. So guys, if you get a chance, man, check it out. Take a look at it. It's uglier than sin, man. It looks like one of those guns that you would get. Now, I don't know if y'all remember back in the 90s, those consoles, the Super Nintendo stuff where you used to hook your gun up to it and stuff like that. It looks like one of those kind of guns, but either way, it's a good gun. That's the thing about the hockey weapons, man. They're not the most cosmetically appeasing, but they work, you know, and that's the whole purpose of it, man. I don't care what it looks like. It can be a fucking octopus on my arm. As long as the shit kills things, that's all that matters to me. Either way, fellas, check it out. Thanks so much for coming and watching this weapon review. I'll catch all of you later. Slap that like button like your mama told you right.